So let's just get settled into a nice, comfortable seated posture. And you can have your feet about the hips width apart, knees about a hips width apart, and the shoulders aligned with the hips. Your ears aligned with your shoulders. And imagine your spine is this beautiful string of pearls of light that stretch from the base all the way up through the crown of the head and beyond. And just lengthen your spine. Just imagine it's getting longer. Putting some space in between those vertebrae. And bring your awareness to the crown of the head and just relax your scalp, the forehead, the eyebrows, the eyes, the back of the eyes, the nose, the cheeks, back of the tongue, the jaw, back of the head, and the neck, the throat. Allow your shoulders and shoulder blades to drop down. Relax the chest and the belly and all of your limbs. And be aware of any sound in your environment. So trying not to follow those sounds with the mind. Just allow them to be there. And notice the thoughts, putting some space in between your thoughts. Notice your feelings, emotions. Just allowing them to be there, trying to observe what's there with curiosity, with objectivity, and with kindness towards yourself, compassion. And then just notice your breath sensations. The air as you inhale and exhale through your nostrils. The rising and falling of the belly and the expansion and contraction of the chest cavity, thoracic area, the diaphragm rising and falling. Bring to mind, the people in our life, our loved ones. These are people who we have, great fondness and love, profound relationships with these ones. Our strangers. And then there's ones we don't like so much. And, due to this impermanent nature of this world we live in, these relationships can change place at any time. They're interchangeable. Regardless of how we feel about anybody at any particular time, all these sentient beings, all these human beings, they're all equal because they're all looking for happiness. They all want to be free from suffering, and they all have this extraordinary capacity for a Buddha mind. So I think we'll do this practice this evening for all these people of our life, and by extension, all sentient beings. So we think there is no negativity that can't be purified, and this purification process is basically a psychological one. We create negativity with our mind, so equally we can change that by creating positivity instead. We start with this power of regret. So sincerely regret from the depths of your heart anything you've done to harm any living being on this day, in this life, and in all of our past lives. And think of specific actions of both your body and your speech and then in general regret all. And the reason to regret is based on this logic of karma. We experience everything due to our past karma, our past actions, and so having harmed others, we ourselves will necessarily experience suffering in the future. We cannot bear the thought of any future suffering that we will experience, and we know from our present suffering we don't want any more. So logically, it makes sense to remove the karmic seeds before they ripen as future suffering for us. So think like this: I regret from the depths of my heart having harmed others with my body and my speech, having broken my vows, because I do not want the future suffering. I'm sick of suffering, and also regret any anger, attachment, and the rest that are the cause of why we harm others. And then think again, I'm sick of this suffering. And then think, what can I do about it? Whom can I turn to? So here we come to the power of reliance. So we rely upon, we turn to the Buddha, who we see as a doctor, who has these methods that we can use to purify. And it's not that we need the Buddha to forgive us. We're purifying ourselves by relying upon his medicine. So imagine Vajrasattva above the crown of your head. You can also imagine this is the mind of your teacher manifesting in this form for your benefit. And he's made of this beautiful, radiant, blissful white light, sitting cross-legged on a white lotus and a moon cushion. And he has this beautiful, radiant face, and his eyes are long. They're shaped like lotus petals, and they're peaceful and full of love and compassion for you and all those people of your life. He has a sweet red mouth. His hair is black and held up in a top knot. His arms are crossed at his heart, the left underneath the right. The left is holding a bell, representing wisdom. The right is holding a vajra, which represents the indestructibility of compassion. And their being crossed represents the union of these two. And this symbolizes enlightenment itself, the development of infinite wisdom and infinite compassion. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened. By this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva, may I reach Buddhahood so as to benefit all sentient beings. So here we have this little section on developing compassion. So in order to develop compassion, we need to rely upon other beings. So this is why this is in the section called reliance. And, we think about beings we have harmed and those who have harmed us. So think particularly of people you've harmed recently and in the past, and maybe in general, all beings you've ever harmed since beginningless time. And then remember those who've harmed you and have compassion for them, because the harm they've caused you is going to result in suffering for them sometime in the future. And, the ripening of that karma is never clear. Can't be predicted often. So make a strong aspiration to do this practice of purification for the sake of all these beings, and think, I must purify for their sake. And then we come to this power of remedy, and this is the medicine, doing the practice of purification. And we start with the body, and Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful white nectar, like coming out of a hose, quite forcefully from his heart, and it arcs around and enters your crown and pours into your entire body, filling you completely. And it keeps pouring into you until it forces out of your lower orifices all the harm you've ever done to any living being with your body in the form of inky liquid, and this pours out of you and disappears into space, not one atom left, as we recite the mantra. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Drita meboa Situkaya meboa Sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa Sawasidi mimpiyatsa sawa kamasita me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tatagata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahompe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Drita meboa Situkaya meboa Sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa Sawasidi mimpiyatsa sawa kamasita me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tatagata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahompe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Drita Meboa, Sutukaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anarakta Meboa, Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsasawa Kamasita Me, Sitam Shiam Guru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa, Mahasamaya Sata Ah Hum Pe, and Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya, Vajrasafa Dina Patita, Drita Meboa, Sutukaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anarakta Meboa, Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsasawa Kamasita Me, Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ah Hum Pe Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsasawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ah Hum Pe Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Drita Meboa Sutukaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsasawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ah Hum Pe Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Drita Meboa Sutukaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsasawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra Ah Hum Pe. So be delighted that all the harm you've ever done to any sentient being with your body is now completely purified. And imagine there's no way to do anything other than benefit others now with your body. And next is this purification of our speech. And Vajrasattva very happily sends powerful nectar from his heart chakra. And it arcs around and quite forcefully enters your crown and fills your entire body, except this time forcing up to the top of your body all the negativity of your speech. And this overflows and disappears into space, not one atom left. So just imagine all the gossip and the harsh speech and the useless speech and lying and talking about people behind their backs and getting other people to agree with you. All of this is purified by this powerful nectar filling you as we recite the mantra again. Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsasawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ah Hum Pe Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsasawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ah Hum Pe Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsasawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ah Hum Pe Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsasawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ah Hum Pe Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsasawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ah Hum Pe Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsasawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ah Hum Pe Vajrasafa Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shiyam Guru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Hum Pet. Again, feel so happy that your speech is now completely purified, and imagine it's not possible to do anything other than benefit others now with your speech. And next is this purification of our mind, and Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful beams of light from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and enters your crown and fills your entire being. So you imagine you walking into a room and you flick on the switch, and the light that comes instantly dispels the darkness in that room. So the same here, the moment the light from Vajrasattva's heart hits your heart chakra, all the darkness of the negativity of your mind, all your attachments, neediness, anger, depression, anxiety, resentment, jealousy, grudges, bitterness, all instantly dispelled, not one atom left. As we recite the mantra again. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shiyam Guru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Hum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shiyam Guru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Hum Pe Am Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shiyam Guru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Hum Pe Am Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shiyam Guru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Hum Pe Am Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shiyam Guru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Hum Pe Am Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shiyam Guru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Hum Pe Am Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shiyam Guru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Hum Pet. So now feel you're completely purified. There's not one atom of negativity left in your mind stream. Even the subtlest obscurations to your enlightenment have been removed. And now we come to this power of resolve. And this is the fourth and the final step in the purification process. And it's a really important one. So this is this determination to refrain from harming with our body and our speech and our mind. So without making a decision, so we just need to decide. Without that, we're just going to keep doing the same old things over and over again. So this determination, this aspiration to refrain from harming becomes like a beacon that guides our body and our speech and our mind in new directions. So, Lamsa Rinpoche used to talk about everything, existing on the tip of the wishes, the aspiration. So we have to decide. We've got to want this. So rejoice in your efforts for coming along tonight. So for Shrey, it's 6 a.m. For you people on the East Coast, it's 11:30 almost. For Shrey, it's probably 6:30. And then all of us in between. So if you're in Australia, it's in the middle of the day as well. So just rejoice in your effort, making time, carving out a little bit of time in your life, going without a little bit of extra sleep to do this practice. That's fantastic. So pat yourselves on the back for that. And then think of something you'd maybe like to work on between now and Monday when I see you all again. Make it a simple little thing. Doesn't have to be a big, big New Year's Eve promise to yourself that's going to last a year. It can be something that lasts a minute or two. And it also kind of comes along with an awareness of perhaps some of the things you're doing that might be harmful to yourself with your body, your speech, or your mind. Harmful to yourself or others. And maybe journal your progress. Journal where you're at every day. And then you can look back and see how you're moving along your spiritual path, and you'll probably find you're quite encouraged. So imagine Vajrasattva's delighted with us and wants to merge with your mind, melts into white light, and absorbs into you through your crown, and think, my teacher's body, speech, and mind, Vajrasattva's body, speech, and mind, and my own body, speech, and mind are the same. So Rinpoche would recommend to meditate on emptiness. So he would say, in emptiness there is no I, the creator of negative karma. There is no action of creating negative karma. And there is no negative karma created. So at whatever level you understand emptiness, place your mind there for a little while. We can think of all phenomena as being empty. They do not exist from their own side. And you can also think the way things appear to me may not necessarily be the way they actually exist. So let's just dedicate all the merit, all the positive energy you've created doing this practice to all living beings, and think, may all the virtuous karma I've created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. And let's just to chant the names of Manjushri. The perfect Buddha's perfect Vajra posture, retaining for all beings the Buddha's Dharma. The lotus Buddha's celebrated son, the knowledge treasure for the omniscient. The sovereign king controlling all illusions, the foremost master of the Buddha's spells, called Vajra Tiksna, sword supremely mighty, completely pure, the highest syllable. A top pain's remedy, the Mahayana, with Vajra Dharma as his mighty weapon, with Vajra depth renowned as Jinajik, with Vajra thought aware of how things are. Okay, everybody. Thanks, you guys. Lots of love. Thank you for hosting. Have a good weekend, as we say in Australia. Stay safe, drive safe, and I look forward to seeing you Monday. Okay. Thank you.
Namaste.
Bye.